digital wizards out there. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about how I created my latest piece, Coral Meadow. If you have been following along, you might have noticed I've been doing a lot of water themes for the last couple of months. If you have any ideas of what I should add to my water collection, leave a comment and you might see it on the next video. Now, let's get started. To start this off, I'm going to bring in some rocky textures for my coral bed, and as I go along I'm going to be adding in some drop shadows and giving it some depth. But really I'm just trying to give this kind of pop-up book kind of feel to it, where it has a collage feel but also has kind of like a three-dimension feel to it as well. So as I continue on with this process, I'm also going to be using that same kind of workflow for my coral and other elements in this scene. And as I keep building up those layers, keep building up the shadows, it's really going to start giving it a really great sense of depth. I'm also going to be changing the colors as I go. As you can see here with the coral, I give it more blue tones, darken it up a bit as it goes further and further into the depths. As you can see here, I'm actually using my alpha channel and masking to kind of blend in that coral to the different colors. And I'm also giving it a little more depth to it, giving it a little more texture on the bottom left corner there because it just wasn't quite enough. I had a big gap, big hole there, and I just wanted to fix that. And then as I continue forward, I'm going to be using a feather and my lasso to kind of change some of the colors on the top, because obviously there's light coming from above and I just wanted to kind of add that in. So what you're seeing here is I've made a blend mode to kind of blend in those little bumps on the rock, and then what I'm doing is I'm going in with my clone tool and I'm just kind of using that to stamp it onto other areas and give it some nice texture so that the rocks don't feel as flat. It's right about here that I start adding in some atmospheric effects. I want to give it more of a blue tinge around the tops of the rocks and as it goes further into the deep. You'll also notice that I'm using a lot of color correction tools such as curves, levels, just to get the right look for each of these. You'll especially notice this with the coral later down the line because I decided as the scene was getting more and more blue that the purple coral just wasn't doing it for me, so I switched it up to more of an orangey red coral instead. And then of course I'm dropping those drop shadows in to give it more depth of field, and then using a feather toward the top there to just change the color slightly. So yes, here you can see I'm changing it to the reddish orange, and then I'm going in and using my clone tool and my warp tool just to add in some extra little rocks that I missed the first time around. And then of course I go into my seahorse, and this is a very complicated process because it took me so many layers to get the whole thing done, and when I was finally finished I was like, I am not doing it again, so I just, copied it over to the other two. You're gonna see here is me going in and just manually adding shadows to the areas that I feel that need it. This really helped with the coral, especially to make it pop and kind of stick out, and just brought those colors to life, I think. And there you have it. There is my coral meadow. It took me a while to get completed, but I really love the way this piece came out. If you enjoyed it as much as I did, please drop a like or subscribe and let me know what you'd like to see in the next video. Until next time.